The Kashmir issue can be a lesson for the world. A region that had been embroiled in a violent conflict for at least 30 years, if not more. No end in sight, backed and sponsored by Pakistan. But India, through a strong political will, welfare measures for one and all, and ensuring that no mass bloodshed was seen in the past 4 years, has shown to the world how a conflict can be attempted to be resolved, while other parts of the world are engaging in war at the first instance. Abrogation of Article 370 was the biggest test for Prime Minister Modi government. It also needed measures to ensure people welfare is the first priority. But it also wanted and intended to make a clear watertight case for Kashmir's integration into India so that Pakistan does not misuse it. But there were, of course, legal angles to it too. And now sanctioned by the Supreme Court, that has clearly explained with its 5-judge experienced bench that the legal background to integration of Kashmir into India has also now been elaborately made clear, stating that the special status was always a temporary provision. It was always in the transitional category due to the warlike situation of the state during 1947. There was always supposed to be a gradual process of integration, and that has happened. But this video is to remind you of much more, and that is the ground reality change. Because eventually that is what matters, isn't it? I ask a question also here today. Why is it a certain section constantly outraging against either the court verdict or the government action in this case? While changes on the ground are visible, it is helping one and all. Why then indulge in fear psychosis? I've seen Kashmir during the years when children were deliberately pushed to participate in violence. They would get injured and killed and be made a symbol of oppression. Those who benefited by escalating this violence were busy making their career better, living safely elsewhere, while generations of Kashmiris suffered on the ground. This continued with no end in sight. Thousands have died between 1990 to 2016 especially. Today, as a journalist and as a Kashmiri, I'm happy to note that violence at a mass level has ceased to happen, and touch wood for that. Children go to school, completing their academic years. Curfew and killings are not the norm, and this is not easy to be achieved. The Kashmiri Hindu minority, known as the Kashmiri Pandits, who are indigenous natives to the land, had been brutally targeted and forced out. Only separatism funded by Pakistan was ruling roost. Local Muslims who tried to challenge the jihadists were also bullied into silence or killed. 4 years later, since that abrogation decision, two facts have been proven. Positive changes are possible, of development and of opportunities, of hope, and how political will can decide if a conflict will continue or not. I had reported about a group of Valmiki Dalits in 2019 whose third generation was living in Jammu region, but they could not get equal rights, and now they can. Imagine this happening anywhere in today's India, that a community of our country has been denied rights. What a blowback that would have got. In Jammu and Kashmir, that was brushed under the carpet. Refugees from Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir who had been facing the onslaught of the Muslim extremists found shelter in J&K, and now they can look at equal citizenship too. Importantly, possibly the Hindu Kashmiris can also hope to return, or at least hope for justice against the violence that was inflicted on them. Large-scale recruitment drives are taking place, injecting life into the workforce, trying to bring a certain system into J&K. These are big moves because eventually 3 E's will be important: empowerment, employment, and equality that will bring a change. This was once a picture many of us had to helplessly watch, hoisting the Pakistan flag on Lal Chowk by those who dominated the narrative of separatism and extremism. From then to hosting the Tiranga rallies was a first. To many it was unthinkable. This whole area, central to tourist Srinagar, has witnessed massive change under the Smart City project. Kashmir used to be always comparable to European cities with its beauty and heritage architecture, and that seems to be finally happening. Who does it help if not the local Kashmiris? And bringing a lot of this change and with courage are also members of the local Muslim community. because they have realized they do not want another generation to be pushed into horror for the gratification of Pakistan and on the dead bodies of Kashmiris. Let's talk specific now. To you, a cinema hall may be a normal. What's the big deal? Not in Kashmir. Terrorist threat had for 30 years shut down what was once a bustling cinema scene, at least in Srinagar city. Many tried to even reopen but failed. On the day Regal Cinema had reopened in September 1999, a bomb was hurled inside the theatre, causing deaths. So this was a big risk to open again. Then in 2022, Srinagar opened or reopened the first cinema hall. This took a lot of courage and a lot of risk. But now we can see that there are queues one after another and films that are turning into blockbusters, specifically with regard to packed halls in Kashmir. Culture of festivals have been central to the Kashmir Valley. Shia Muslim community's Muharram procession was organized after decades. There were celebrations at different temples with regard to how the doors were now being opened and people were being encouraged to go ahead and celebrate their local festivities. To the minuscule minority Kashmiri Pandits, there is a certain confidence to organize festivals at a larger scale, to start being vocal about their culture, about their narrative. Kashmir's ancient temples had suffered massively due to the brunt of terror attacks, and clearly as many of these temples had now been abandoned with the community that was forced to flee. Now the Sheetalnath temple, for example, opening after decades, renovation of many other temples in downtown or in South Kashmir are on. And that has given hope to many from the community who are native to the land, who are at the brink of losing the remnants in the valley, that possibly there is still hope at the end of tunnel. Aren't governments voted in precisely to give people this specific power? New temples like the Sri Venkateshwar Swami temple, which is also called the Tirupati Balaji temple, has been constructed. Organizing the G20 Tourism Working Group meeting in Srinagar was marking a global event, and may that just be a start and invite many more global events to be taking place in the beautiful Kashmir Valley or in the larger Jammu and Kashmir region. What is it that some of those who do not want these changes to happen tell us? Do they want Kashmir to continue to be in that violent vortex like many other international destinations have been? What will they benefit? Why do they want Kashmir to become like a Gaza, Israel, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Russia, Ukraine war to be taking place so they can write articles and make their career better while people on the ground continue to suffer? What is it about relative peace that can be at least seen in Kashmir Valley or in Jammu region or in Ladakh bothering some of those who just don't want these changes to happen? Kashmir has been a seat of civilization, of learning, of Shaivism. There is now hope to revive that too. Jammu and Kashmir is a vibrant multicultural region, and that vibrancy must become the highlight, not terror attacks that are being glorified as a revolution. Each one of us wants security and stability around us. So do mothers in Jammu and Kashmir. Government data now shows that the number of terror incidents in Jammu and Kashmir declined from 228 at least in 2018 to 41 in 2023, at least up to 15th November. Civilians killed declined from 55 in 2018 to 13 as 2023. Number of security personnel killed in action have declined too, from 91 in 2018 to 20 in 2023. No massive incident of stone pelting has been reported in 2023, whereas 1,458 pelting incidents were reported in 2018, according to South Asia Terrorism Portal data. Do you even realize how significant this is to save the life of youngsters and to also ensure law and order in the region? Now, this is not to say all is normal in the Kashmir Valley, that Kashmir is all a paradise again. Of course not. Terrorists are still attacking our personnel in the army and Jammu and Kashmir police. Kashmiri Pandits are still killed by the jihadists just for being of the Hindu faith, for simply living in Kashmir, even if they are now less than 1%. They are seen as soft targets to be targeted and attacked. Even laborers and migrant workers from other states continue to be at risk. But what does this also show? That the frustration of terrorists is also at a peak. They are trying to gain on a lost ground by killing innocent people. Yes, over 1 crore tourists have visited Jammu and Kashmir, but that is not the highlight. The significant part is the consistency of continued tourism. Earlier for months, there would be shutdown called by the Hurriyat separatists or curfew by the state or some other disturbances. Business community was always suffering. That consistency to work was missing. Mata Vaishno Devi temple in Jammu region has had over 58 lakh pilgrims visiting. I hope the region gets its due and how. This is an equality-inducing measure. The rights that people of Jammu and Kashmir have had in rest of India are now accorded to people from other states into Jammu and Kashmir, like for example buying property. But there is a fierce psychosis that is being spread. All outsiders will come and overpower. And I understand that concern. But has it happened in the past 4 years? Not yet. And I hope the government will ensure that all of these concerns are addressed, and for the local residents, they are kept safe and guarded. A word for the people of Jammu and Kashmir who have supported this big gamble. Jammu region largely supported the decision despite the concerns because they hope to be represented now, hope to see peace, hope to see opportunities for them. That support should be respected and ensure recognition. Locals of the Kashmir Valley who are daring to rise against terrorists and their ecosystem to stand for peace. They deserve support. They do not want those years of violence, and these voices need to be given encouragement. People of Ladakh who need infrastructure and assistance as a sensitive border region. There are new voices of hope that are emerging, giving confidence to each other that peace is possible, that this conflict does not have to be forever. These are special voices. And that is why many of those set old voices who rule the narrative are not happy. They want Kashmir to go back into that conflict. As the region embraces a new era, it stands as a testament to India's commitment to resolving conflict through peaceful, democratic and constitutional means. The Supreme Court only highlighting that this process is possible, has happened, and that there is nothing wrong about it. We'll be watching this development for the next few years as well, and we hope that it will now be all peace and prosperity for Jammu and Kashmir, and the world will be watching how India has set an example that conflicts can be resolved without bloodshed. Thank you for watching.